good afternoon. And YouTube. Good afternoon, everybody. So as I promised last week, we are doing the hot topic of work search. We're going to jump right in here and discuss everything you need to know about work search. Why is this so important? It's a topic that comes up every single day here in the office. It's things that we repeat ourselves and talk about over and over with our clients. And I want to make sure everyone gets a handle on this because it's a super, super important topic and something that could mean that it's the make or break of your case. If a judge says you're required to look for work and you don't do it the right way, or you just can't prove that you did, your workers' compensation benefits can get cut off just like that. And I see this all the time. It's one of the most common reasons people lose their benefits. And most don't even realize that they're doing anything wrong until it's too late. So today we're going to walk you through exactly how to do a work search, what a good faith effort actually looks like, and the checklist you need to follow so you don't lose the benefits that you're entitled to. I see everyone's chiming in here. Hello, hello, hello. I love the questions already coming in. And as always, folks, please, if you have questions that are on topic, my hair's a mess. If you have questions that are on topic, post them up here. I'm going to try to get to them as we go through everything. And of course, if it's something else, everyone has a wide variety of questions and you guys always have the best questions. Please throw them up there. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can today and answer all your questions. But today we're going to we're talking about work search, okay? Ooh, the slideshow is over here. Good afternoon, people on the gram. I see you guys coming up there as well. So when do you need to start doing your work search? Let's look at my notes here. We got some good notes. There's two triggers for labor market attachment. So labor market attachment, LMA, is the acronym we use because we're in the workers' comp world. Everything is an acronym. Literally, everything is. There's like, I can only imagine what these judges talk about when they go home. But everything's an acronym. LMA, labor market attachment, is the same as work search. The two triggers for labor market attachment. Number one, if your doctor says that overall you have anything less than a total disability. So you could be 99% disabled. That means you have one little sliver, 1% of ability to do something. You have to start looking for work within your restrictions. The other trigger is if a judge adjudicates your case and makes a determination that you are partially disabled, then you have to do a work search. You have to look for work within your restrictions, a good faith work search within your restrictions. And we're seeing more and more of this. When and why do we see this? Well, if you go and see the insurance company doctor and he says, okay, it's 6 months after your accident and you have a 50% disability, and your doctor files a report saying, okay, well, it's 6 months after the accident, but you're still 100% disabled. Back in the day, we could negotiate a rate of compensation, move the case along at a tentative rate just to keep the case moving and not have to slow down and stop for litigation. But now insurance companies are saying, no, we'd rather litigate. We're not going to negotiate a rate here. We're going to stand firm by our doctor's 50% finding, and we're going to take testimony from both doctors and let the judge make a decision. And why do they do that? Because once the judge makes a decision, he's going to determine what level of disability you have based upon the depositions of the doctors on both sides. And if that judge rules that you have anything less than 100% disability and that you're partially disabled, you're going to have to look for work. And the insurance companies know that the work search obligation is not an easy one. And to fulfill that obligation is not a task taken lightly, and that there's a good chance you're going to fail at it. And if you do, you lose your benefits. They know that it's difficult. They know that people have a tough time with it. So they want to hold you to it to try to get your money suspended. It's their cheat code. And we need to educate the injured working public about how to beat them at their own game. And that's why we're here today. So the two triggers: your doctor finds a partial disability, the judge makes a determination that you're partially disabled. Once this happens, and once the insurance company raises the issue of labor market attachment, you are expected to search for work within your restrictions. And you have to do a diligent, good faith work search until you find a job or until the judge determines that you have done a good faith work search at the next hearing where testimony is taken for your benefits to continue. If you are still temporarily disabled, that work search requirement, if you are still temporarily disabled, that work search requirement continues. It only ends upon a finding of a permanent partial disability. So if once you're deemed permanently disabled, if you maintained your labor market attachment, if you've shown that you've done your work search, you've been doing your work search. Once you're found to have a permanent partial disability, it's at that point that you could stop doing your work search and you get locked in. Or if you actually do go back to work at full duty or light duty, reduced earnings or whatever else. So you have to continue looking for work until there's a determination that you have a permanent disability. If you don't do a good work search, if you don't do any work search, obviously you lose. If your work search is not considered up to snuff, up to standard, your benefits can be suspended. And then you have to prove that you've reattached to the labor market to get them back. You need to do even more than you've done already to get those benefits back. And they're not going to go retroactively to the day they were suspended, unless, of course, you started that diligent, good faith work search that day. If you're in court and the judge says, sorry, work search not good enough, benefits suspended, and that's today, and you say, holy shit, I better really get out there, and you look for 15 jobs that afternoon, and you keep that pace up until the next hearing, well, then there's a good chance the judge is going to kick your benefits back in as of the date that they were suspended. But I've never seen that happen. So work search, when you're found to have a partial disability by your doctor or the judge, diligent, good faith search for work within your restrictions. Now, what counts as a good faith work search? Great question, Rex. Thanks, Rex. There's no magic number on how many jobs you need to look for, and there's no specific framework. There's no guideline, which is kind of why I'm here today. I want to put together as best I can a checklist for you guys so you can kind of understand. But you got to understand one thing. Every judge is different, and every judge is different from the same judge that they were the day before. Judges have good moods and bad moods. Some judges think one way, some judges think another way. So every judge is different. So there's no real guideline as to what constitutes a good faith work search. How many jobs do I need to look for in a day? What kind of jobs do I need to look for? There's no magic number. Some judges will accept a few a week. Others want 4 or 5 applications a day. They're all different. Your rule of thumb is this: treat looking for work as your new full-time job. If you're home and you're injured and you're not working, obviously, and you've been required to look for work, that is your new job. Your job right now is looking for work. That's your full-time job. You should only be applying to jobs that are actively hiring. Now, this is a big one. And we see this a lot when people do their independent work search and they testify. I went to every business in my neighborhood that was hiring and nobody would hire me. And judge, I can't look for any more work because there's no more businesses that are hiring. So I started going to businesses that are not hiring to ask if they're hiring. Now, in my opinion, that's fantastic. If you could show that you've looked at you've applied to every job that's actually hiring in your neighborhood and nobody's hiring, and then you started going outside those parameters just to do the best you can, I like that. But most judges say, no, that's not good faith. That's you just walking into every business. Are you hiring? No? Great, thanks. I went to Joe's shoe shop and he's not hiring. Hey, are you hiring? Nope, great. Mike's Deli, not hiring. They make it seem like you're just walking in, poking your head in to get a quick answer, a quick no, and moving on. But some people do that in good faith, and I think I like it, but the judges do not. So first and foremost, you should be applying for jobs with employers that are actively hiring. Number 2, you need to look for work within your restrictions. Jobs that can reasonably accommodate your restrictions, jobs that fall within the restrictions that you now have as a result of your injury. If you were an iron worker before, if you were a stonemason before, and you're hurt, you might have a 25% disability. You might have a 10% partial disability, a relatively small disability, but it might not allow you to ever go back to your heavy duty job ever again. You might be totally disabled from your job forever, but you might still only have a 25% disability, because when they make a determination of your level of disability, it's not from your job, it's from all jobs. So you could have a 25%, which is called a mild disability, but that might be severe enough to keep you out of your job forever. But you should still, under the work search obligations, you got to look for work within those restrictions. So if you were a stonemason before and you got hurt and now you're home and the judge says, ka-ching, you got to go look for work. Well, if you start applying for the same jobs that you were working before you had the accident, something's wrong. You can't do those jobs, so why are you applying for them? You have to apply for work that you could reasonably do, or at least you have there's a reasonable argument that you're going to give it a good faith effort and you could potentially do that job. So looking for heavy duty work because that's all I know and that's all I do, that doesn't cut it. The jobs have to be jobs that you can do. And you don't know how many times people come in, they give me their work search, and we're going to discuss the psychology behind this in a minute, but people come in, they give me their work search and they're all pissed off that they have to do this. And I look at their work search and I say, okay, you applied for a job at, let me think of something here. Russo's on the Bay down in Brooklyn. You applied for this job, Russo's in Queens, and as a waiter. And if they called you tomorrow, would you take the job? Could you work as a waiter? No, there's no way I could be a waiter. How do they expect me to lift a tray with 15 dinner plates on? There's no way I could be a waiter. So why the hell are you applying for that job? Why are you applying for a job that there is no possible way you could ever perform if they hired you? That's not a good faith work search. A good faith work search is looking for jobs that you could potentially do, you could reasonably do, and they're within your restrictions. My notes right here: avoid jobs that make it look like you're just going through the motions. You don't want the judge to think you're just going through the motions. You have to convince the judge of a good faith work search. And I always think about, the clients who are successful in this area are the ones that are motivated, enthusiastic even. Mr. Rex, I looked for 15 jobs last week, man. I thought one of them was going to call me back and potentially give me a chance, but they wound up not calling me. But but I'm also going to enroll in college and maybe take some classes. Or Senor Abogado Rex, I'm going to take English classes because I figured that's a good first step to getting a job within my restrictions, and it widens my horizons, and maybe I can find a job. It's that enthusiasm that work search seems like a headache. You are right. But it's that type of enthusiasm and it's that mindset that you need to adopt. And like I said before, the psychology of it is where it's really important to get an understanding here. Your people that, you've been hurt for a year or 2 years or even 6 months, but you've fallen into, you had your routine of going to work and doing your thing and coming home and having dinner, and that was your routine. And then you got hurt and your life got turned upside down. And since that time, you've fallen into a different routine. Well, now I'm hurt. So now I wake up and my wife goes to work, and then I go to physical therapy and I hang out there for an hour and I go do my exercise, and then I come home and I rest for a little while, and then I do my home stretches, and then usually by then she comes home and we have dinner, and that's it. And you fall into that routine. And now all of a sudden, boom, it's going to change again. Why? Because now there's a work search obligation. For whatever reason, in your case, you now have to look for work within your restrictions. And the psychology of it gets you turned all upside down. And 99% of the people are going to say, why the hell do I have to look for work? I got hurt on this job. I didn't ask to get hurt. It was an accident. I'm hurt because of the work I did. And now they're making me go out and look for work within my restrictions. I still have a job there. I'm still expecting to go back. What kind of crap is this? And I totally get it. And you're 100% right to have all those emotions and all those feelings. And I totally understand it. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Because now under the law, you have to look for work within your restrictions. And the psychology of it changes you, because 1 minute you're sitting there saying, WTF. I already cursed like twice today. I'm not going to do too much. But you say, what the hell's going on here? Now I'm I'm doing the best I can to get my butt back to work. And now they're telling me I better go look for work right now or else they're going to suspend my benefits. And most people get defined. Suspend my benefits. You watch what happens. Oh, I'm going to call the news. Well, it doesn't work that way. And it pisses me off that it doesn't work that way, because I'm just as angry as you guys are. But unfortunately, that's the requirement. That's the requirement. And you got to change your mindset. You got to say, look, I'm pissed and whatever, but you need to shift gears in your brain and say, this is what my lawyer is telling me to do. I better go do it, because he does this every day. He sees this every day. And he's, as much as I don't want to hear it, I got to do what he's telling me to do to keep my benefits going. And I can't stress it enough. I have arguments with people constantly. Clients come in and they yell and scream at me, I'm not doing a work search, and this is crazy, and I'm not doing it, and I'm not doing it. I'm too hurt, and I'm not doing it. And I have to sit here and I see it's like a roller coaster of emotions that I go through with them. And it happens all the time. It's the same progression where the yelling and screaming and getting angry. And then we reach that crescendo. And then I get the person to calm down. And then I can finally level with them and bring them a glass of water. Sometimes it's a tissue. And I say, look, I understand how upset you are, but I'm telling you the truth. And I'm telling you the law. And I'm telling you what to do to get through this. I know you're upset. I know this is a burden, but we got to do it. We got to get through it. And that's why it's important. Whew, that got me going. So, accept jobs that you can do. If it's reduced earnings, you can still qualify for benefits. And that's one thing that people don't understand. You're applying for jobs that are within your restrictions, this good faith work search. And maybe it's not a 40-hour job. Maybe it's 20. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's light duty. If you get a call to go and you get hired for one of these jobs and you accept it, great. And you know what? You might not be earning what you were earning before, and that's fine. Why? Why, class? And I'm waiting for somebody to pop up in the column over here with all the questions. Why? Because of reduced earnings. If you go back to a light duty job and you're earning less, we could still try to get you reduced earnings. And that plus your actual reduced earnings might get you a pretty good amount of money. And it shows that you're doing the right thing and you're acting in good faith and you're doing everything you should be doing. And it's a win for everybody. And that's what we want here. We want wins for you, people. Work search checklist. Okay, so now we're going to do a step-by-step checklist of what you need to do. On the website, is it on the website side, or are we going to put it in the comments here, or both? We're going to create a downloadable PDF version of a checklist, of this checklist, that's going to be posted on the website and probably here. Look for a link to that in the description of the video or pinned in the comments. We're going to get it there. If it's not there now, it's going to be there soon when we go, when this video gets uploaded. But we're going to keep the actual checklist there. Use it. Okay. Here's your checklist. Number 1, step 1. Okay. Now we're getting serious here. Even Catherine joined. Catherine's been giving me a hard time all day, but even she's interested in what to do for a work search. Step 1, create a resume. It's a lot of times this is a make or break. Okay. We've had cases where we go in front of the judge and the judge says, all right, before we get started here, sir, do you have a copy of your resume? And the client says, resume? I've been a bricklayer for 35 years. What resume could I possibly have? And the judge says, people who look for jobs have resumes. I don't care if it's a huge resume, and I don't care if it has one job for the last 35 years. If you don't have a resume, you're not serious about looking for work, you lose. So create a resume. A resume shows the judge that you're serious about looking for work. Make sure your resume is updated. If you pull your old resume out from 2014 and it's clear because the dates of your employment are listed there and it doesn't add up and you submit that, it's going to look bad. Update your resume or create a new one. And make it, please, respectable. Crayon, no good. Proofread it. Let's be, we got to get serious here. So update your resume or make a new one, proofread it, make sure it's nice. If you don't know how to make a resume, Google's your best friend. Google, how do I make a resume? You'll get 800 different templates that you can use and make your resume. Create a resume. And with that resume, every job that you apply for, whether it's in person, online, whatever you do, you give them a copy of that resume. And you give a copy to your lawyer so he can give a copy to the judge and the insurance company. Step 1 is out of the way. You have a resume. And that's oftentimes it's a huge step that if you don't do, it's one piece of paper, please. And if you don't do it, that alone could cause a loss. So create a resume. It doesn't need to be fancy, just needs to be accurate. Judges expect to see one, and oftentimes it's the first thing they ask. Without having a resume, they're going to assume you're not serious and your work search is weak. Submit it with all your applications and make sure you give a copy to your lawyer. Number 2, get your medical restrictions in writing. Huge. You are supposed to be looking for work within your restrictions. And the first thing a lot of carriers ask is, sir, you submitted all these job applications and all this work search that you've done. So it looks like you're looking for work within your restrictions. Is that correct? Oh, yes, that's correct. I'm doing the best I can to look for work within your restrictions. Great. What are your restrictions? I don't know. How are you supposed to be looking for jobs within your restrictions if you don't know what your restrictions are. You need to talk to your doctor. You need to have a serious chat with them, because a lot of times you got to understand something. If it's the circumstance that we discussed earlier where the judge has ruled that you have a partial disability, that's coming from a place where your doctor might have said you have a total disability, and the insurance doctor might have said you have a 25% disability, and the judge might have ruled that you have a 75% disability. But your judge is saying your doctor is saying you're totally disabled. So when you go back to talk to your doctor, you say, Doc, I got to do a work search here. The doctor's going to say you're totally disabled. You shouldn't be looking for work. No, you got to make it clear to them. Doctor, the judge, we took your deposition a couple weeks ago. The judge ruled that I have a 75% partial disability. He's required me to look for work within my restrictions. Can you, dear doctor, my dear sweet medical provider, give me a quick list of my restrictions? Ask your doctor for a list of your restrictions. Every time you submit a resume, you could submit your list of restrictions to your potential employers. It's fine. Ask your doctor to outline your restrictions. How much can you lift? How much can you push or pull? How long can you sit and stand? How far can you walk? All your physical restrictions, obviously different injuries and have different restrictions that are relevant, but list all those restrictions. Get them from your doctor on a piece of paper and provide that letter to every potential employer with every application, every time you submit a resume, and give a copy to your lawyer. Now you have two pieces of evidence that are going to show that you're serious about your work search. And they're huge. They're huge pieces of evidence, because it shows people who aren't serious don't create a resume. They don't get a letter from their doctor outlining their restrictions. If you have those things, it makes all the other, it's an enhancer. You know, when you play lottery and you get the what's that thing called when like it triples your prize just because you got, that's what I'm talking about. People have no idea what the hell I just said, but it's your enhancer. It makes all of your, it's hot sauce on your food. It makes all of your evidence, your work search evidence, that much stronger, because not only am I looking for these jobs, Judge, I told them what my restrictions are. They know how injured I am. Here's my resume. I'm doing the best I can. And it looks fantastic when you do that. Number 3, visit a job center. There are, maybe it's more theoretical than anything. Some judges still say, oh, if you go to Workforce One, that's good enough. Well, I have yet to see a judge that's finding work search sufficient solely on a person attending a job center like Workforce One, but it's a huge step in the right direction. There are state-run, county-run governmental agencies, Workforce One, Access VR. There's a whole bunch of them. They have different names all over the state and different counties. But these places exist, and they're resources that you should take advantage of at times like this. And maybe people don't want to fess up to having to be able or having to have to go there, but they're there to help you. They're there to help you in this situation. Go to Workforce One, go to Access VR, register with them, sign up with them. They give you a folder with your workforce that shows you were there. You get paperwork and pamphlets on the different classes. Enroll in their classes. They have classes on how to build a resume, how to look for work on a computer, how to access the internet so you can search for jobs at different jobs, monster.com or Craigslist or however the hell you want to look for work. They have all different sorts of classes. English classes. Some of them offer English classes. They have all different resources that can help you out. Enroll, participate. Maybe, listen, it sucks, I know, but it's there to help. And if you can prove to the judge, hey, judge, here's the printout from my English as a second language class that I took because I'm trying to expand my horizons and look for work because right now I can only speak Spanish, but I'm really doing my best. It's going to help you, and it looks good. Register in their class. Get as much documentation to show you've been there. Go there. If you've maxed out all the work searches in your area, if you've gone to every company and business that's hiring in your neighborhood, you can't find anybody else, use that time at Workforce One. Go there once a week, hang out there for a few hours, and then go grab lunch on the way home. Participate. Do what you can do to try to find work. They're there to help you. They're there to help you find work. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be taking advantage of it. And if you can't find a job, it's going to help you show the judge that you're doing the best you can to look for work. Okay? I'm getting worked up here. Got a new water bottle if you guys haven't noticed, but get proof of your participation Participation in these programs can sometimes be enough to satisfy work search obligations. That's my note to everybody. But I don't think it's enough. I want you to do everything you can. I don't want to leave any holes here. That's where we're going to move on. Search for jobs independently. This is where you're going to go and pound the pavement. Look for work online. When I say pound the pavement, I mean pound the keyboard. Look for work online. Indeed, jobs.com, monster.com. There's a million employment websites out there, and I'm fairly certain the vast majority, if not all of them, are free for the employee. It's the employers that pay. The people looking for work don't have to pay. So I want you to get on your computer, get on your phone, look for these jobs online. But again, look for jobs within your restrictions. Don't look for jobs that you can't do. If you don't have the ability to perform these jobs because of your injuries, you shouldn't be looking for them. And when you look for jobs online, now again, some people don't have printers, some people don't have scanners, some people whatever. Keep track of everything. Whether you take, there's a form on the board website, I believe it's called the C-258 form, where you document your work search attempts. If you don't want to do that, put it on a piece of paper that on August 20th, 2025 at 4 p.m., I found a job at a law office as a file clerk. And I applied for that job, Smith's Law Office. And you're going to write all this down: the date, the time, the name of the business, the address and the phone number. How did you speak to them? Did you do it over the phone? Did you do it online? Did you do it live in person? Did you knock on their door? And who did you speak to? I spoke to Mr. Smith, and I submitted my application, and I submitted my letter outlining my work restrictions, and I submitted the resume. And if you do all this online, which is great, it's not a problem because now you don't have to leave your house to do your work search. You could do it from the couch. I want you to, whether it's screenshot, save, print, whatever, every piece of documentation for every one of those work searches. So looking for one job, you're going to email them, presumably. You're going to fill out their resume, their application. You're going to submit your resume. You're going to submit your list of restrictions. Okay. So there's 4 different things that you just did on that particular one work search. Then you're going to submit it. You should get a receipt of some sort, whether it's through the work Indeed or Craigslist or whatever, showing that you've submitted. Then you're going to get an answer. And then from that answer, you might have an email conversation with your prospective employer. You just created a whole ton of evidence that you're going to submit on your behalf to help you to show the judge that you've been looking for work. And you know what? That one job that you look for could create 6 or 7 different pieces of evidence if you save it and you give it to your lawyer and they upload it. If you don't, and you don't even document it, well, how the hell do we know what you did? And so many times people come in and they say, I've been looking for work for the last 2 months. Okay, great. Show me what you did. I didn't write it down. Well, what the hell do you want me to do? How can I prove it if you didn't write it down, if you didn't get evidence? You could create the evidence and give it to me. Look for those jobs. Get the email back that says, sorry, I don't think we can accommodate you with a bad back. Look for those jobs. Get the email back that says, sorry, you're a day too late. We just hired somebody. But at least you tried. And get that evidence to your lawyer. If you bring the printouts, we'll scan them in. If you take screenshots, we'll email them in. We'll get them done. But you got to get them to us. You have to get them to us. So that's the online work search. Keep a list. Keep a list. Whether it's online or in person or over the phone, keep a list, a constant list of every job you've applied for, the name of the company, the date, the time, who you spoke to, how you spoke to them. Did you submit a resume? What was the result of that contact? Every single one. And if it's an online work search, print or scan or whatever, all the evidence you can from each one of those jobs that you applied for. If you're going in person, very similar. If you fill out a resume, ask them for a copy of it. If you submitted everything, ask them for a copy of everything you submitted. If they send you a letter back saying that they're not hiring or you didn't get the job or whatever, keep that evidence. Give it to your lawyer. Get that in so that you can prove to the judge that you are doing everything you can to get a job and you're just not being successful. Unless, of course, you are successful, which is fantastic, like we said earlier. Make sure your jobs are actively hiring. Now, when it's online, obviously they're actively hiring because they wouldn't be posting ads for jobs if they were not actively hiring. That pertains more to people out there on the street trying to find a job. And make sure you're looking for work within your medical restrictions. Whew. Told you guys I was passionate about this. So here we go. I've been beating this horse all afternoon. Keep evidence of everything. Judges expect proof of your job search. Just doing the work search is not enough to keep your benefits. Just doing it is not enough. They want proof that you're doing it. And you're here, every job you look for, like I said before, you can look for one job and that could turn into 6 pieces of evidence and it could turn into no pieces of evidence, depending on what you do and the evidence you keep. It's in your control. Take advantage of that. Fill out Form C-258 and list every job you apply to. Go on the board's website. You can print it out, save it online. You can use it right there. Save all of the following in a folder, digital or this is repetitive, but that's how important it is. Copies of job postings, screenshots, photos of signs, help wanted sign. Take a picture of it. Great. Copies of every email, text messages that you sent and the receipt, what you sent out and what you get back. That's 2 emails. In-person and phone details, name and contact info of every person you spoke with, the date and the time of that contact, why you spoke to them, where are you applying? Is it a follow-up phone call? Hey, you called me back after I applied for the job, and now I got your message. I'm calling you back. Oh, great. Just write all that down. Keep as much evidence, as much track of everything as possible because it's going to be helpful. Copy of your complete application package, application, your resume, your cover letter, and your restrictions letter from your doctor. Monsters. You need all this stuff. Save all this information and give it to your lawyer. Now, you have a decision from a judge. This applies in 90% of these cases. When labor market attachment has been raised, a judge is going to say, evidence to be produced X, and he's going to give a time. Sometimes it's 10 days before the next hearing. Sometimes it's every 30 days or every 60 days. But the judge is going to give you a time schedule that you need to stick to submit your evidence. And I can tell you this, the majority of people ignore it. Don't be in the majority. The majority of people that are told to submit their work search documentation every 30 days don't do it until I call them and yell at them. Everyone that's told to submit it 10 days before the next hearing, well, when I'm prepping that hearing and I don't see it there and I have to start scrambling, they should be sent in already. Don't be in that majority. Be smarter than them. Submit it in time. Submit it ahead of time. Submit them once a week. I don't care. We get them, we look at them, we upload them, and they're there. They're there. They're waiting for a hearing. Why would you jeopardize your benefits for something as simple as this? So submit them on time. Submit them as frequently as you can. Get that evidence in so that we can show the judge that you mean business. Phew, Rex is tired. I know that was a lot. And this is something that has become a passion because, to be completely honest, I love what I do and I love my clients and I love helping people. And this is an area where I find myself banging my head against the wall and I find my clients banging their head against the wall. And it's like I can't see eye to eye with people because they think I'm trying to screw them or I'm misleading them on this is the law. Believe it or not, this is the law. Believe it or not, this is the requirement under the law. I know it sounds crazy. I know you've been sitting home on the couch for the last 8 months, but guess what? Now you have to get up and you got to do something. And if you don't, your benefits will get suspended. And I can kick and scream and fight about it all I want. If the judge doesn't think you did a good faith work search when you have been required to do it, there is very little that's going to save you. Now, maybe you should have did a slide about this. There are certain circumstances where it can be excused. If you have another medical condition that pops up, if you have extenuating circumstances that pop up, I've seen it happen where a person can have a terminal illness and that the treatment that's required there might result in that person having an overall inability to look for work. Well, those circumstances will be at the very least raised and reviewed, but they are very rare. So don't think because you have to, Catherine's leaving. Bye, Catherine. Don't think it's got to be one hell of a reason to be able to overcome the requirement to look for work. Whew. All right, a couple questions here. I'm going to be going until 5:20. I have to catch a choo-choo train and make it home. But I told you guys this is going to be a over the top. I'm him. My employer sent a certified mail address to me, but to a wrong address to return to work for light duties that was inconsistent with my doctor and carrier doctor light duty restrictions. I never received the letter and was then later fired for failure to return to work. I filed a wrongful termination claim, and the law judge determined the employer was wrong for firing me and ruled in my favor. I did not refuse light duty. Can I sue my employer outside of workers' comp injury case for their wrongdoing? Where do I go and who to call? I don't know what state you're in, and I honestly wouldn't know. The worker, so you filed a wrongful termination. Did you file a workers' comp discrimination? I need to know what state you're in more than anything. But I would speak with a labor and employment lawyer. If you don't have one, you want to give me a call. I can help you. We work with some fantastic labor and employment attorneys that have gotten some great results over the years. So we can help you with that. But that would, if you want a quick answer to a question, that's my answer. You need a labor and employment attorney. Ms. B, hope things are going well. Things are going fantastic. I hope things are going well with you, my dear. Thank you. The retired UPS guy. Hello, Rex. I just wanted you to know that I've settled my case for a smaller six-figure than what it was worth. Thank you for all you do in helping us injured workers out there. Keep up the good work. I'm happy. You're happy. The best, a settlement, this is like a judge mediator joke. A settlement was right when nobody's happy. And it sounds like that might be the case, but I think you feel the weight has been lifted off your shoulders and you're away from this mess of workers' comp. And I'm happy that you're feeling good. Hey, hello. Christian De La Cruz. That was my situation. I'm still at 100 and the IME says 50. I just had a hearing on Monday. So you see, there it is in action. Your doctor says you're 100% disabled. Their doctor says you're 50% disabled. And some insurance companies say, we're not negotiating. We're taking testimony. We're going to roll the dice here. If the judge finds total, that's great. But if the judge finds 50, 55, 60, anything less than 100, you have to go look for work. And that's what's been happening. And it sucks. I have a question. My shoulder needed a surgery, but the adjuster kind of wanted to deny it because I didn't mention it for the urgent care, but the specialist, she found it on the MRI. So what you're saying is it wasn't mentioned in the initial medical and it popped up at some point down the road. That's an issue. It's a defense the insurance company is going to raise. They're going to kick and scream and they're going to give you a hard time because they're going to say, oh, if your shoulder is so bad and you need surgery, how come it didn't pop up in the initial medical? Well, there's a lot of different explanations there. I don't know your case, but maybe you had a compound fracture of the leg and the bone is sticking through the skin and the urgent care really didn't care about your shoulder as much as stopping the bleeding of your leg. But talk to your doctors and make sure you submit some good supporting medical there. And hopefully they can get you through this and get your shoulder surgery. Ebony, I saw you on Instagram. I know it froze. Well, I know you froze because you're here telling me it froze. But thanks for joining. Christian, so my doctor just submitted the request for surgery after 7 months of PT. Well, neat, just because, and this is another misconception here that we see all the time. People will say, how the hell can I look for work? I'm supposed to have surgery soon. Just because you're supposed to have surgery doesn't mean you're totally disabled up until you have that surgery. And you could still be partially disabled. Well, how can I be partially disabled? I'm supposed to have surgery. The two of them are not consistent. You can be partially disabled and still need surgery. There are clients that get hurt that continue to work and need surgery, and they work up until the day of their surgery. They have surgery, then they take a few weeks off to get better, and then they go right back to work. So just because you need surgery doesn't mean you're automatically totally disabled, and just because you need surgery doesn't mean you can't look for work. Very common misconception, and people need to get an understanding of that because that's something I get screamed at all the time. I need surgery. How can I go look for work? I know a lot of people that need surgery that continue to work and go and get their surgery and then go back to work. Just because you need surgery doesn't mean you're totally disabled. And I'm not, Christian, I'm not, your question sparked that in my brain. I'm certainly not coming down on you, my friend, but that's what I see. Kelly, hi Rex. I've been total permanent for many years. Probably all of them, but absolutely broke, barely getting by on New York State workers' compensation only because window closed to file Social Security disability. I didn't know about Social Security disability. Sold jewelry to pay property taxes. That's terrible. Attorney says I can't even do a work from home, like answering service or something. No options for the total permanent worker. I've gotten stress-induced health problems from this. If you're able to work, yes, it's going to knock your permanent total disability down to a permanent partial disability. It's going to create an issue, but do what you got to do sometimes. And that Social Security thing, that's a killer. I'd give my left leg to be able to work again and not be broke all the time and constant stress and depression, life ruined. I get it, Kelly. I get it. And I don't have the crystal ball and I don't have the roadmap of life. People find their way through this, and I don't want to. It doesn't have to be grim. If there is some type of work that potentially you could do from home, and I mean a permanent total, you got to go through a lot to get to that. But you got to talk to your doctor. I don't know your specific circumstances. I don't know what it is you'd be looking for. Talk to your doctor, talk to your lawyer, and try to get just a better grasp. And maybe there's a path. There's something. I don't know. I would really need to know more to give you a better idea. But I wish you the best. General hobbyist, longtime contributor. Next month, I go for the defense IME insurance. My doctors determined I have a 15% PPD with a 3-time multi-plus safety violation against my employer. I can't believe they haven't offered to settle so far. You're not in New York, if I'm not mistaken, hobbyist. But he wants them to wait for their IME for the first initial offer. Sometimes yes and sometimes no. If it's scheduled, then probably because they want to. They already scheduled it, so it's on the books. They're probably going to want to get it done and take a look. And then maybe a settlement might be coming your way. Achillabreeze, this is what I saw pop up when I was reading before. Work search seems like a headache. It is, but it's a necessary requirement under the law. Ebony, who's going to hire someone if their injuries are to the foot and ankle, and most days they cannot even get out of bed because of severe swelling and nerve pain? Great question. If a judge has determined or your doctor has determined that despite the severe swelling and nerve pain of the foot and ankle, you are able to do some work, you have to look for jobs within your restrictions. Maybe you could do a sedentary job, a sit-down type of job. Maybe you can work in an office setting, answering the phone. And that's the thing. There's no clear-cut answer to these questions. It's an overall concept that you need to adopt and work through. So even if you can't get out of bed, maybe you could do a sedentary job from home. Try to look for those types of jobs. Talk to your doctor about what you can and can't do, and look for jobs within those restrictions. My employer found a light-duty job, but the bathrooms, I don't know where the rest of that question is. Johnny Garcia, injured my elbow and my 3 fingers. My right arm feels numbness all the time and lose strength. Could that be part of the same injury? MRI showed high-grade partial thickness. That's a great question. That's a medical question, though. And I only play a doctor on days of our lives. I don't have it. I don't know the answer to that question. I would be completely guessing. Talk to your doctor. Have him read the MRI and the report and get an answer. You have doctor's appointment tomorrow. Perfect. That's a question for him. I want to know the answer, though. Susie B. Rex, is good faith following New York State DOL your guidance? Department of Labor. Labor market attachment is a dismal task. Yes, it is. Job market stinks if you're over 50 years old. Yes, it does. Can you please share how difficult a final workers' compensation is going to a final hearing? Can employers appeal judge's decision on positive work search? Yes, they can. Happens all the time. So, yes, it's a task, man. It's tough, and you gotta having the evidence there ahead of time is huge. And yes, it gives the insurance company a leg up on that. They can review it and they can really hone their questioning, but it's just so important to have it there, and it looks good that you busted your ass looking for work. Here's my work search. Here's how hard I've been trying to get this done, and it's something that you really need to get in there. Russell, accountability is the only thing that I would love to see. Employers get off free after catastrophic events just because they offer workers' comp. They have to. It's the same reason why, you can have a little old lady who's not paying attention driving a car, and the most horrible of things can occur, and the insurance is the one who's there to kick in, and the oftentimes there's really no accountability there under your definition. So I get it. But that's why we have insurance. Hi, when do you usually have a hearing? Also, if new job pays way less than what I made during manufacturing, which I'm assuming is your job that you were injured on, will they make up part of the pay difference? I think you just answered my question. Thank you. Reduced earnings is what we call it. And yes, so that's how it is. Reduced earnings. If you go back to work and you're unable to achieve your original wage earning capacity, you can apply for reduced earnings and get additional compensation. You get up to 2/3 of the difference between what you were earning before and what you're now earning in your reduced capacity. QB, I literally have to urinate every 5 to 10 minutes due to multiple herniated discs and bulging discs, in addition to pain and side effects from the medication. I have to tell a potential employer all this. This goes back to what I was saying before. Get a list of your restrictions. If your doctor's aware of that, and that should certainly be on the list. Those symptoms are often indicative of significant lumbar problems. So yes, I would assume that your lifting capacity is reduced as well. Make sure your doctor lists all that on your list of restrictions. Have a nice piece of paper from your doctor that lists all those restrictions. Fell at work, hurt my head, went to emergency room and they found a tumor. So I had brain surgery on my head and I hurt my lower back. Can I come back to work? I am disabled, workers' comp. I need more to that. They have not paid you yet. It's in 5 months. Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, your injury uncovered a brain tumor. And unless it's related, which it doesn't sound like it is off based upon this quick blurb about your accident injury, they saved your life while hurting you at the same time. But there's going to be a question as to how much of your current disability is related to your accident at work and how much is unrelated and resulting from the surgery, unless that surgery was for both. I got a few minutes left, folks, only because, again, I gotta get home. I'm in the office today. I know you know that because you can hear my Roomba banging into the wall over there. If you like this video, if you like any of my videos, please like, please subscribe. I don't see that Miss B has been taking roll call of everybody on here like she did last week. There she is, 68 in the chat, 17 likes. Hit the like button. I love it. Chris Ashley, longtime supporter. Hello, hello. I see a bunch of questions here, folks, and I wish I could get to everybody's question. I'm going to grab 2 or 3, and let me find 2 or 3 that are going to get us all. Can workers' comp take my money for any civil judgment and from the final workers' compensation award as well? Okay, so this is a completely separate question, but it's something that we talk about all the time. When you have a third-party case and you have your workers' compensation claim, I answered this question today in the comments this morning. Somebody was asking about this. Workers' comp. So here in New York State, we're going to preface this. This is a New York State topic. Here in New York State, if you have a third-party case, if you're suing a negligent third party, the guy who ran the red light, the building owner, somebody who's not your employer or coworker, if you're suing a negligent third party, when that case settles, they have to get permission from the workers' compensation carrier to settle your case. And part of that permission is the workers' compensation carrier informing your third-party attorney how much money they've spent on your workers' compensation case and how much they're willing to take back in satisfaction of that. They have a right to recover their money. They have to reduce that lien. There's a lien and there's what's known as a recoverable lien after a reduction. They have a right to get money back. So the answer to your question is yes. The workers' comp does have the right to take money back from that civil judgment. And from the final workers' compensation award as well. Well, if there's a schedule loss of use and they're going to take credit for prior payments, yes. So those deductions do factor in. This is why it's imperative to have not just a comp attorney, but a third-party attorney who knows what they are doing and they work well together, because there's a lot of moving parts here. And we try to figure out the best way to get all your cases settled and get you as much money as possible. And not everybody does that. I've seen messes made, and sometimes we got to try to clean them up. Folks, thank you. It's 5:20. I am shot. I feel like I've been speaking for 3 hours. I don't know how fast I was going, but I thank everybody. This is a fantastic. This is something I wanted to do, and I get a ton of questions on it, and it's just a huge threshold it's a pitfall. It's a major issue. It's a red flag. It's a pain in the ass. This work search thing is a thorn in my side. I'm going to go on and on. We need to know about it. We need to know how to attack it. We need to know how to think about it, attack it, and overcome it so your benefits don't get suspended. They're too important to you. You hear from people who are home that their life is totally upside down, and then your money gets suspended. No, let's not let that happen. Like I said, we're going to post a checklist. I'm going to tweak it. We're going to add to things. We're going to have another video down the road because I know more is going to come up, but it's so important. Work search is a super important thing. I know it's not the most exciting topic to discuss. People love talking about how to get the most amount of money and, surveillance. You guys love talking about surveillance, but this boring topic is super, super, super important, and I want everyone to know about it. As always, if you need help with your case, even if you're out of state, we get a lot of questions. Do you have a lawyer in Texas? I know somebody was asking if I have a lawyer, if I have an office in California. I don't. I'm sorry, but we can help find people all over this great country of ours. We have lawyers all over, so please. If you need help, call me, 212-406-8989. If you need help with a personal injury case, if you need help with a Social Security disability case, call us. We'll get you the help you need. It's important to us. I try to just do right by everybody. But I thank everybody for their time. I know there's questions on Instagram also. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everybody today. It's just been a crazy busy day. But if you need help, give me a call, 212-406-8989, and we're going to try to get to you next week. What do we want to do with next week? Let's try for Wednesday, same bat time. Wednesday, 4:30. How's that, folks? I want all these questions back. I want to go through each and every one of them now. I want Miss B there. Where'd she go? 33 likes. That's slightly more than half. Come on, folks. I want to be able to help everybody. Give me a call if you need help. Otherwise, I'll see everybody next week. And I thank everybody for their time. I hope you have a great week. See you later. Bye-bye.